Hello.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the Knit Girls.
This is episode 59. It's
Wow.
May 15th, 2011. It's a nice, quiet, pretty Sunday.
It is. It's kind of cold out.
Well, by kind of cold, she means 60s.
Hence the jacket.
But, okay, well, we'll go ahead and start. Why don't you talk about what you're working on?
Okay, I'm working on my pie shawl. I got one whole repeat done this week. So it looks a lot bigger. I think it looks a lot bigger. Maybe y'all can't tell. So that's the fourth clue right there. And the third clue. Then the second clue. I'm trying to get this to work while looking at it through the lace. And then there's the first. So I did a whole repeat because I need these needles for something else. Perhaps another Wendy Knit secret project.
There's always.
So I'm trying to get it done, slowly but surely. So this was my fourth repeat of clue 4. I have 2 more repeats to go. And then I get to move on to the last clue, which is the edging. And I'll have like 1,200 stitches on my needles at that point. So that's going to be super fun. But I worked on it all day yesterday, so I felt like I got a lot accomplished. More than just a few rows that I've been averaging a week.
Woo! So what else are you working on?
I am also working on, I want to work just on this, but I can't. I'm working on some socks. This is my portable knitting project. The first one is done. This is Canon hand dyed in the We Are the Night colorway. It's her self-striping. And the second one is wee, but it is there. It's on the needles.
That is tiny.
It is tiny. I didn't have a whole lot of knitting time this week.
Yeah.
So I got the first one done. And
It's very
I was
pretty,
knitting during a work function and was told that was rude.
She was
so I had to
fussed
put it
out.
away. So there was less knitting than usual. Instead I played Oregon Trail. It was like an iPad CE, so they had the iPads there and I was like following along and listening and knitting at the same time. But after I was told to put it away, I played Oregon Trail.
She's like, screw this.
No, because I knew most of it because I have an iPhone. I just need the CEUs. Now I sound like a horrible employee.
You do not.
I need the CEUs for my lessons renewal. So I've been taking a lot of night classes that whatever I could squeeze into. Anyway, this is Gnor. It's one repeat bigger. It's one of the little points bigger. And this is... It is kind of sad. Shut up. And it's on this big, long signature circular, too. On my size 5 signature circulars. Which are the 3.75s. But anyway, besides my pitiful shawl... I think it's pretty though. It's squishy. It's her It's Kitchen Sink Dye Works in the Dexter colorway in her cashmere base, and it's really pretty. And actually, I've been debating about taking it out, but I think I'm going to keep it and just continue working on it. And actually, I got a cool new app for my phone, which allowed me to download my whole Ravelry library essentially into my phone. So I can't remember what it's called now. Let me look. But so I just have the pattern on my phone. And it's very cool. The app, and if you go to the iPhone group on Ravelry, it's called Goodreader, and Casey's got a little tutorial about how to set it up.
I would interrupt you and say that nobody cares, but then they would yell at me and say, I wanted to know what that app was.
It's Goodreader. I care. I was so excited. It's like $5. Apparently it was 99 cents when Casey first published the tutorial, and now it's $5. But I had to go out and buy an iTunes gift card because I refused to link my bank account to iTunes because they've been hacked too many times.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought an iTunes gift card just so I could get that and the Newglee soundtrack, which
good
comes
way
out.
to do it. I mean,
and that keeps me from buying 800 apps and going way above my app budget for the month.
You have an app budget?
No, well, okay. I have an iTunes music budget. So that keeps me in check. Otherwise, I would own like every single Glee episode on my phone and Glee soundtrack.
You say this like you don't already own all the soundtracks?
No, I'm missing. There's a new one coming out at the end of this month that I don't have yet. Anyway.
Because it's not out yet.
I know. Gnor, our kitchen sink dye works in my Petaloo Cats with Sweaters bag. And it grew a little bit. Alright, that's all I got. I knit like 2 rows on my sweater too, but I didn't even bother to bring it because I knew you'd make fun of me and my lameness.
So technically I have one thing on the needles, but soon I'll have 2, so I'm going to talk about both of them. The first is, oops, something fell. The first is the Senna sock. This is from the book we reviewed a couple weeks ago, Silk Road Socks.
It was last week.
Was it? Hunter Hammerson. Hunter is female, by the way.
She is. She's behind what blog was
Violently Domestic. And I never made that connection until I had PM'd her, and then I went and looked on her RAV page, and I was like, oh, I know who this is.
Yeah, and she's very sweet.
Yeah, she's got a ton. She's got a new sock pattern that I queued
There
up.
are like 3 or 4. My queue grew. Nothing else grew. None of the knitting grew this week, but the queue grew by like 20 things, and it's all like have to purchase patterns, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be good. And then I had a crappy day on Friday, and I was like, I should buy a pattern. And then I was like, no, I'm being good. But the chick who did Magrathria came out with a new one in the Hitchhiker series.
See, I meant to look at that, and I haven't yet.
I really want that pattern, and I was like, no, I'm being good. I'm being good.
You're so well behaved.
Just this week. Next week, when we go to Kentucky Fiber Festival, it's on like Donkey Kong. I'm being good.
So this is the sock. And it's a couple of repeats in. Let's see if I can stretch it across one of these here. So that y'all
You're
can see
using your
Blackthorns. I am using my Blackthorns, which are a US 1.5. And I'm primarily using them because I couldn't find my magic loop size and just didn't care enough. So this is what it looks like right now. And I'm using Hazel Knits in
That's really pretty.
Cherry Fizz colorway, which was given to me by Megan, Crafty Pancakes. I love this yarn. It is so nice to work with. And I mean, the content isn't anything super special, but it's really nice and squishy, and I like it a lot. And I have a problem with my cast on edge for socks. It's typically not stretchy enough. So with this being rib, I figured that would help with the stretch, which most cast on edges are for socks if you're doing them top down. But I cast on over 2 needles at the same time, over 2 of the Blackthorns at the same time. It hasn't left any gap or anything at the top, but it's made it really, really stretchy. So
good for you.
The pattern calls for 3 repeats of this little motif here for the cuff, but I don't like my socks that long, so I did 2. And I was going to
say those are pretty short socks, but
they're
perfect for you.
Yeah, I like them that short.
I like mine short too. My ideal length of socks is 5 inches, I think, for the cuff.
So, Blackthorn needles, US 1.5. I think that's 2.5 millimeter. I still have a ton of yarn left.
You do.
And I'm using my owl Pitaloop.
I'm like Captain Obvious today. You do have a lot of yarn left.
Let's see. And then my other thing, I'm waiting on approval from the committee, I guess. The teachers, professors, that's what they're called. In the Harry Potter group, I submitted a proposal for an owl, and I'm doing the Transfiguration owl, which the second option in the Transfiguration was to do a steeked item, a large steeked item. So what I did...
So first years, which we are, because this is our first time doing it, can only do 1 owl.
Which is good, because it's not like I got time to do one. So what I did was I bought like 6 colors of yarn from Knit Picks in the palette base. And so I started swatching with the 3 greens and the gray. And I didn't really like how it looked against the dark gray background. I think it would have worked if I had done it in a lighter color, but I didn't. So I switched to my jewel tones, which I think turned out prettier. The blue, dark green, and burgundy-ish color. And you have to do a swatch to submit your owl to prove that you can get gauge and all that. And I've done a steeked item before. I did the Uni Jang Argyle vest. And I crocheted the steeks on that and then cut them, and you know, life was fine. It worked fine. Well, this time I steeked the edges, like I built in the number of stitches I needed, and I did the crochet reinforcement here on the edges, but I didn't account for how small the yarn was, because when I steeked the Argyle vest, it was worsted weight, so I couldn't get in there to get the little bars. So I just said, screw it, and I cut the side that was beside the steeks. I just cut it right down the side. So there's all this loose yarn, so then I just machine sewed over it with some white thread, because it's just a swatch, who cares?
But it's good practice, actually. I'm glad you knit in the round and steeked the swatch, so you could really get an idea of what you wanted to do.
Color work flat is not something I plan on ever having to do, so I went ahead and swatched it in the round. But anyway, It actually was a lot easier to machine sew over the fabric than I thought, so I might do machine steeks. We'll see how I feel when I get closer. I'll have to get a yarn that blends, or a thread that blends. But so I'm waiting approval for this for me to start on the lead light pattern. I don't have it over here. It's over on my table. It's a lead light cardigan by, I can't say her name, Jessamine something, but it's Jesh, Jesh. So hopefully I'll have at least like part of it started next week as long as they approve it.
Cool. And for those of you who aren't in the group, say you do a proposal, which is where I'm stuck. Actually, I'm stuck on the swatches. And then you submit your proposal, and then they approve you or deny you. And it's really, the proposal is a conversation between you and the professors as to what they want you to do. So they might say,
they have to consider it challenging, or they won't.
Or they won't approve it, because that's owls, if you're familiar with the Harry Potter books, I really can't talk today, are a next level. It's like your finals.
End of terms,
So
why I'm even doing an owl my first year, I don't know. I guess I'm just competitive.
Well, I'm going to do one, and it's Arithmacy. And it's doing 8 similar items, so I'm going to do 4 pairs of socks, because socks count individually, and I'm finished 3 of the swatches, and I'm working on the 4th. I just have to get that 4th swatch done. And by swatches, I mean the cuffs of the socks.
Yeah, at least you don't have to rip it out. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
It's not wasted effort.
Oh, I know.
So you have a couple of FOs you want to show?
I do. I have 2 monster chunks. They are chunks and they dance.
They do, and I saw them, and I said, "Oh, it's too bad they don't make colored safety eyes, because then you could do like one green one and one blue one, and your students would always remember where they came from."
So, for those of you who might not know this, every year my 8th graders, when they graduate, I give them a little monster chunk, and then I put a little gift certificate sitting on their feet. And it's like $5 to Starbucks. They asked for iTunes this year, but I can't find iTunes gift cards less than $15.
Yeah,
and I love them, but they are not getting $15. There's 6 of them. So I have the first 2 done. I have another one in progress. I didn't bring it with me. I have the body done. So you cast on, and then you knit up, and then you decrease, kind of like you would the top of a hat. And then you pick up all those stitches and knit down and decrease, and then you make the little feet and sew them on. And I am a master seamstress. So there are the little feet sewed on. I just play with the feet as I put them on. I time myself. I set the stopwatch on my phone, and it takes me around an hour and a half to do one monster chunk.
It's a lot of little bits.
It's not that bad. It's really not. An hour and a half's not a huge expenditure of time. So, and I'm just using up scrap yarn. So this is like Cascade 220, and then this is the Robot Overlord colorway of Lorna's Laces that I did Kobe's big thing out of. The pattern is by Rebecca Danger, Dangercraft Knits. So I did another Dangercraft item out of this, a kit that I had gotten. And, and congratulations, Rebecca. She just had a little boy a couple weeks ago. His name is so funny.
I know.
Is it Presley Cash Danger or something like that? It's like related to Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash and the Danger. I love it. I think it's awesome. And then this one's hand spun with the Cascade 220 for the feet. Just little bits of leftover stuff that I have laying around. The other one is the knit picks that I did my dad's mittens out of, and then some Nora for the feet.
You're just randomly pulling stuff.
Well, I have this big Longenberger basket that's like huge, and I just throw all my little bits and bobs in there, and just pull them out as needed. But the basket's kind of overflowing right now. I know. So, but my socks have my sock drawer has also gotten too small. So I might have a problem like that. I might have to get a bigger sock drawer. I use this, the little Tupperware sock drawer things. I might get a larger one of those and use the other one for which is like shoebox size pull-out drawers for put all my fingering in one drawer, all my worsted in another.
Oh, your scraps. Yeah, I'm like your yarn will not fit in a drawer.
No, my bits and bobs.
I have a fair amount of FOs this week. Some of them are from past weeks, and I just kept forgetting to show them. So the first was...
You have like a little parade going on.
The Harry Potter Quidditch thing started this week. And I think the first round was quaffle. Was that right?
It's quaffle.
Okay, so I don't know what that means, but you had to knit a small item. And my house was Hufflepuff, and we had to knit scarves, and you had to knit a certain pattern. So this is my little book scarf. It's like a bookmark. I don't know that I'll ever use it because I pretty much just use my Kindle now, but it's a wee little scarf, and I finished it, so my team gets some points.
Yay, I did not do that. I had to make a golden snitch.
A snitch, yeah.
And I was already dealing with these little fiddly things, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
I finished my TheKnitGirll's Afghan square swap square. So this is what it looks like. It is actually blocked to size, but it's heavy, so it's pulling now. But so I'm sending this off to my partner this week.
And that's out of Debbie Bliss, correct?
It is Debbie Bliss Cash Merino, Erin. If you're in the TheKnitGirll's square swap, the deadline for sending out your square is May the 20th, which is this coming week. So make sure you get it out, Laura.
That's what tomorrow night's project's going to be. I promise, Moa. I promise.
She will come after you and beat you.
Moa loves me.
Yeah.
I love Moa too.
So I'll save this one. The TheKnitGirll's Spin Along, Knit Along. I finished my project for that. I was limited on yardage because I decided to spin it thicker. So the pattern that I chose was Albina.
I think I have to make those now out of mine. I've been kind of...
Vera Brosgall is the designer.
Off mine. It was part of the 4-ounce challenge.
Yeah, so this is what they look like.
They match almost perfectly,
sort of.
dude.
They don't, like, they kind of, well, it doesn't bother me because I'm sending them off to somebody else. But they got little buttons, and the first time I sewed the buttons on, I sewed the placard to the button, so I had to redo that.
Nice.
But yeah, so they're done, and they're nice, and they feel nice. And I really liked spinning this yarn, so I'll have to get some more. Actually, I have some more of it. I say that I don't. And so they're going off to someone as a gift.
Cool.
And
lucky someone.
I finished my hitchhiker. I finished it like last week. We were using it for the signature review because it's what I happen to have on my needles. It's freaking gigantic, y'all.
I love it.
It's huge. You can't even.
I'm glad you decided to stop at the 42 points.
Yeah, I know. It's huge.
So how are you going to wear it?
I don't know.
Put it on now.
See how bossy she is. Like I can wrap it around a few times pretty easily. And then that comes around.
I like it.
So it's plenty big. And I didn't even use the whole skein of Woolmiza. So it's very pretty. And this is mine. This isn't going to anybody. But it's too warm for me to wear it. So I finished this. So I'm going to put that over here with my other things that need to be photographed. And okay, so the last two things I mentioned on Plurk earlier this week. My sister, who is 26, she just had a baby, and his name is Anton. He's a little bit early. He's a few weeks early, not too bad, but he was born with some issues. He's got some breathing issues, and he's got an infection, and they don't know where. So it's been a stressful week for her and for me by proxy, but to a minor degree of her. He's still in the NICU. He will be in the NICU for at least another 2 weeks. And I can't even go and see him because I'm not a parent or a grandparent, which I understand the regulations, but it's still frustrating. So I worked on stuff for her, for him, for Anton. That's his name, Anton. And he's too little to wear it right now, but this is his little sweater that I was working on before. It's got little cable detailing that I added, and then I did the same detailing on the sleeves.
Oh, that's very cute. And that's out of Malabriga Rios.
Rios, yeah. I actually bought a lot more of this colorway to make a sweater for myself out of it. But this is Mossy by Jolene Lai. But I did add detail on the cable detail.
And she has different detail on her.
She's got like a
zigzag.
Yeah,
that goes
it's
back
like
and
a
forth.
pearl texture. But so this was for him, for Anton. And then I was feeling real like Friday night. I'd been talking to Helen, and my sister is Helen, and I just felt real helpless. I can't do anything. I can't, obviously I'm not a doctor. I can't help the baby. And she feels helpless too because, she's out of the hospital now because, she stayed for 2 or 3 days and then they kick you out. So she has to drive like almost an hour each way to go and see him, and she's frustrated. So what do you do when you're frustrated? You're a crafter, you make something because it's all you know. So I went to Joann's and got a kit a blanket kit for sewing because I was not knitting. I don't love any baby enough to knit them a blanket, at least not that quickly. So I got one of those pre-packaged kits.
Yep.
And so I made that. I spent all day yesterday cutting fabric and sewing and pressing. So this is what it looks like, and it's just like I said, it's a Joann kit. I think I paid $20 or $25 for it. So this is what it's.
Oh,
just
it's
patchwork.
soft.
It's lined. It's been washed and dried.
Oh, it's got fuzzy squares.
And these little silk squares were a bitch. Satin, that's what they were. But it's got a lot of little different squares.
I like the little texture.
And
that's
then,
super cute. I'm like petting
you. See this? Isn't that pathetic?
No, that's sweet.
My sewing machine has the little feeder feet, and I can't turn them off. There's no way to, because I got a little cheap like Walmart sewing machine from 4 or 5 years ago. So I wanted to personalize the blanket because she said that he's still in the NICU and in the little, what do they call the little box? The little
individualized
incubator.
Yeah, incubator.
Whatever those things are. And he can't have a blanket in the incubator, but it can go on the top of the incubator. And I thought, well, I should like personalize it, put his name on it so it doesn't get mixed up with the other baby since it's not in the little tray with him. So this is my pathetic attempt at sewing his name on there. I did a little piece of scrap fabric. Ooh, that's going to knock over. And I sewed his name on there.
Let me get the Dr. Pepper.
So it's very badly done, but it is done.
I think it's as sweet as can be.
I'm meeting up with her tomorrow night to hand everything over to her. Give her the little baby sweater.
I'm
not that
sure
you can
she'll
wear it yet.
appreciate it.
So it's my first attempt at a blanket. I did stitch in the ditch on the way down because, again, I can't do like any kind of quilting because the little feeder feet don't turn off. So I've been hinting around to Michael to get me a better machine. By hinting, I mean blatantly speaking.
That's pretty funny.
All right, I've been talking for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I've got no spinning. You do, so why don't you talk about your stuff? I do have
spinning. Let me do 2 stitches to get me past that stitch marker. Okay. So, my local yarn shop, the owner had some fiber that she wanted spun up for her. So I spun it this last week. This is Gaston from Abstract Fibers. If you remember correctly, Becky bought this when we were in Michigan. So I started spinning it. I started last week and then finished it this week. It's still a little bit damp.
You finished this during a daddy-daughter date, right?
Yep, I had a daddy-daughter date last night. So last night, my dad and I went out to dinner, and then we went and we're going through Netflix, and he wanted to watch RV Towing 101 because my parents just bought an RV and are going to learn how to tow. But it was sadly, alas, not available on Instant. So I had to send back the movie I have, and I'm getting it for him. But we watched a fish named Wanda, I think. And that was tons of fun. It's a very odd movie, but very good. So I was spinning during that and plied, and got 150 yards of basically a worsted weight. And it's pretty evenly balanced, and that's what it looks like. So it was a superwash BFL. I enjoy Abstract Fibers. I wish I would have brought over the tag, because on their tags for their fiber that they put around it, it actually has a thing for writing in how much yards you got.
That's cool.
So I thought that was very cool. So this is going to go live with its new home tomorrow. So that's exciting. See, I'm decreasing. Someone asked this week if you're doing like a commission knit for someone, if that'll work for Stash Dash, and I say, hell yeah, it's leaving your house.
Yeah.
So that's going to be leaving my house.
Although, note, a very creative person who I envy for their creativity, asked on the board if weaving in ends on an object counts. I have to say no. You can't count an object that you're only weaving in ends on. Rip it back to like the last couple rows and then do it.
Rip out the bind off.
I mean, yeah. I have to say.
Or just start something new.
It was a good idea, but
It is a good idea, but no. Whereas in the Harry Potter house thing, if you don't weave in your ends, then it doesn't count.
Well, I think for an object to be truly finished and, ready to hand off, that's fair.
Yeah.
So you have a magazine review, too.
I do.
I'm not going to let you get any knitting done.
Apparently not. And I'm on the knit row of my pie shell, so I can go super fast. No, I love when I try to speed knit. I just end up, like, fumbling over my own fingers. Like when I was timing myself with the monster chunks, I think I took longer when I timed myself than any other time. So this is Interweave Knits, summer 2011. My local yarn shop got it in. I don't get a subscription to any knitting magazines anymore, just because I like to go and well, first off, I like to support my local yarn shop by purchasing them there. But also, I like to go and look through them before I purchase them, because not every magazine screams, "Buy me! You should buy me now!" So the first thing that I really, really loved is there's an article about bast fibers, which is really, really interesting. Bast fibers are basically fibers like hemp and linen that are grown. But I love how they did the presentation of the different fibers. So they did a review of like Louet, Euroflex Sport Weight, Fiber Natural Flax, Habu, hemp for knitting. I actually have some of that in the stash. I should knit up. Helison, Balak Island Blend, a whole bunch of different things. But I like how they presented.
Yeah, it's very cute.
It's very cute.
I want to buy it just because it's so pretty.
But it's basically, bast fibers are flax, hemp, nettle, jute, kenaf, Kenaf, I don't know, and rami.
I haven't heard of most of those.
But it's, jute is what they do, like, the ropes out of a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
Like the harder ropes, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. The next thing that I really like was there's an article about silk. And the article about silk really reminded me of our good friend JD, because they say when you burn silk and do a burn test, you need to make sure that silk is a protein fiber, so it should either smell like burning hair or ammonia. If it smells like burning paper, that means it's a rayon and not a silk. If it smells like chemicals or celery, suspect nylon or another synthetic. Burn rate, silk will self-extinguish when removed from flame, which is actually good to know when you're talking about doing stuff for baby knits. Not that I'm going to knit a baby a silk garment, but it will self-extinguish. And then the residue that it leaves will be a crushable burned residue. If it's hard plastic like beads, it's rayon or synthetic. So I thought that was very interesting. They also have a very nice book review about different portable books. So books that have smaller projects in there, which I love for the summer.
Yeah, it's too hot to lug stuff around to add
Especially,
heat to
y'all
your
have to
home.
understand, we're in the South too, so it gets up over 100 degrees.
And
so
it's humid.
This issue is really the like Mississippi issue. I really, really like this sweater. It's the Coral Cardigan by Nancy Eisman. It uses classic elite silk. It's the wraparound cardigan.
I don't care for the color, but I do like the design. I think that it would be a nice summer, you mentioned a nice like pull on to last minute summer cardigan if it gets chilly.
Definitely. Well, and the thing about Mississippi is you go from 100 degrees outside to 70 degree air conditioning a lot. So I think that would be perfect when you go out for lunch or brunch with someone to pull on. I like this top down sweater in the bottom cardigan. It's the Torch Lily Tea by Pam Powers. It's out of a Shibu Knits blend. I like that it's top down, but it's got the different lace panels in it, and it's got the little clasp up here. I like that a lot. They have a huge section on lace. They definitely did a lace type issue, which makes sense for summer.
There's a lot of orange and red in this as well.
I think they did a lot of color families. When you look through the whole thing, it goes from like one color family to another, which is very interesting. So that was like the orange-red. There's an article about Kathy Zimmerman, who's a great designer from Pennsylvania. I've been to her shop. I like her a lot. See, and then this is kind of blues, this section, blues and purples. Alright, we have stuff marked. I don't need to flip like that. I really like, there's a book excerpt, and it's the Knitting Plus book, so if you are a bigger gal.
And this is by Lisa Schroyer. She also did the ever-popular Central Park hoodie.
Yes, and she also, I think, is the editor for Knit Scene.
Knit Scene, yeah.
So she published a book, and it's bigger stuff, and actually the sweater that's featured in here is my favorite sweater from that book, so I really like that. And that sweater uses a worsted weight, Blue Sky Alpaca Surrey Merino on size 7 needles. I really, really like this shrug in the blue. Mm-hmm. I think that is really, really pretty. And I think it would be flattering on a whole bunch of people. And that is the Dockside Cardigan out of Classic Leeds Heritage. So Heritage is a sock weight, so it's going to be very light, even though it doesn't have lace, so it's going to be a light garment by Amy Miller.
I've seen a lot of people queuing that in the past couple of weeks.
It's interesting because you start with a circle of ribbing and then do a back strip and connect the circle to a back strip and then pick up for the sleeves. I know that because it's got a little diagram on the side here of what to do. You and I both were not super fond of the mixed media section.
It's just not my bag.
But it's interesting that they did do a mixed media section. I don't think they've done that in the past, but it's interesting that they did do a good bit of things that corresponds crochet theory with knitting techniques. But I can't crochet, so that section was like kind of not that awesome for me. I love this sweater. I think this is my favorite thing in it. It is the Pebble and Reed Tunic by Daniela Nee. And it is out of Rowan Pure Life, which is a wool blend. I would not do it in that color, but I really, really like the look of it.
Yeah, I like the light, sort of open, but it's still, you could wear it over
I
a
like
tank
that
top.
it's a tunic. It has the tunic length. And then you wanted to talk about the fake seam.
Yeah, Elizabeth Zimmerman talks about fake seaming in her, creating a false seam in her Knitting Without Tears, and this is a really cool way to do it with actually 3 strands at a time versus the 1 or 2 that Elizabeth used. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to add some texture after the fact.
And that's on page 96, and it's part of the Al Fresco Camisole by Alice Tang cardigan pattern. And that was about it. We both really thought that the article, The Ravelings in the back, was pretty hilarious. It talks about being the slowest knitter, and it's got a little knit snail. So that's our little review of Interweave Knits Summer 2011. It's definitely, if you are a summer person, yeah, I think it's got a lot lacy going for you. Yeah. If you live in a warmer climate. Now, if you live in Canada, probably not as many things that you can knit. Although I bet you it gets pretty warm up there at some points, like 70s, 80s.
I was up in June one year, and it was nice. Nice outside.
All right, so favorite things.
Favorite things are big chatty, although we're at 30 minutes already, which is unusual. Normally we blast through the regular segments.
That's because you talked and had so many FOs. I'm blaming it totally.
God, now you're talking about me? Like, going on and on? So...
The monsters are staring at you.
Doesn't bother me. I have an 8-year-old who stares at me, too. So we've had a lot of people, more than we expected, who are interested in the Stash Dash. We welcome all of you guys. We have decided we'll do a couple of little random prizes throughout the thing, but we're not telling you what for. So you can't, it's just something will happen and then someone will get a prize. And we'll do that a couple times during it just to keep it interesting. We've got someone working on a button for, you can put it on your blog or whatever for the Stash Dash, as well as it'll be the artwork that we use for some of the prizes.
And a Ravatar.
And yeah, you can use it for your Ravatar. And
I'm planning on doing a Ravatar.
I like my Ravatar. I'm not changing it.
Oh, I changed mine today. I've been bored with my Ravatars.
So you're bored with me? That's what you're saying? Because it was a Ravatar for me and you.
I know, but then you told me that it confused you to see you and me. And you kept thinking it was you posting and it wasn't. So I changed it back to me. I can't remember which one I changed it back to. It's not the cowboy hat one. It's a different one.
Stash Dash, if you missed last week's episode, is the summer sort of stash down kind of thing. Laura did a stash down last year where she got rid of 50 skeins. This year it's not so centered on the number of skeins as much as the yardage.
Because it's not fair. Like last year I got rid of a lot of bulky and a lot of worsted, which is great because that takes up a lot of room in my stash, but I have a crap ton of sock yarn and I would love to use up some of that. So this equals around 13 and a half pairs of socks.
Yeah, and you can do whatever you want. The goal is to get rid of 5,000, what is that, meters? I don't know. Anyway, it's 5,468 yards. And we've got a thread in the group where we're going to go ahead and talk about it. We'll have a separate thread for when you're done, totally finished, and you want to post your one
And we'll
post
do a sample of
with
the
all
one
of your
post.
entry, pictures. You have to be able to take a picture to prove that you did it. And you don't have to, if you don't know how to post it online or whatever, just get with one of the mods, and we'll help you
figure
with
it
that.
out.
You just have to get the picture taken. We've had a lot of people interested in it. We're excited about starting it.
I'm super excited. It's 27.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks. A little less than 2 weeks.
You know how I know it's 2 weeks? Because I have 2 weeks of school left.
Also, I know that you wrote this down, so that might be part of what we're talking about here.
Yep.
But you can double dip for Tour de Fleece.
Yep, and we're going to have a Tour de Fleece team, just like we did last year. We love Tour de Fleece. We love spinning for that. So if you decide that you want to participate in Tour de Fleece as well, you'll be able to double dip between the Tour de Fleece and the Stash Dash thread.
So every, 100 yards that you spend for Tour de Fleece, you can count that for Stash Dash too. And if you knit with it, you can get.
And if you're just a spinner and you want to spin 5,000 yards, go for it.
I envy you. But so Tour de Fleece, we'll figure out a team and all that sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that it was coming. It's July.
I had forgotten
It's still
about
a little bit away.
I thought it was June.
No, it goes over
right,
the 4th of July.
Okay. So then we have plenty of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, so you wanted to show something that you got this week, right?
I did. I'm hoping everyone got theirs, so I'm not ruining the surprise. But if you're in the Hank of Yarn Sock Club and you have not gotten yours,
look away.
Look away. So this is the Hank of Yarn Sock Club. Oh, mine's tied together with my little name.
And
that's funny.
That's our local yarn shop.
It is, and they do a sock club, and I help them sometimes with it. So I actually purchased an extra package this time because I'm giving the yarn to a friend of mine. So it comes with 2 patterns. One is by Kathy, and it's Little Wristers. And then the other this time is by me. And they are the striation socks. And these will be a free pattern on the in my Ravelry in around 6 months. So basically it's a sock, and I wish I could show you all of them, but they're up at the shop because that's part of the agreement. So it's a sock that's toe up with an afterthought heel, and then it's got a cuff that's picked up separately and knit in a different direction.
It's sort of an applied edging, which gives the stripe a different visual interest. Yep. So I think it's kind of neat.
I like it, and I need to knit the second one. But I had a lot of fun designing it. I just want to let y'all know that I'm not designing for the next round. I'm taking a break and going to do some other stuff.
Obligations.
So I'm going to design some other stuff over the summer. I won't ruin it for y'all now. I'll let it be a surprise. But anyway, this was the yarn that was in it. It is Perfect Day yarn. So Ema dyed this. And the colorway name is Drama Queen, which I love. And it's gorgeous blue, black, and pink. And it's self-striping. And then they have some taffy, some saltwater taffy, some Morning Glory seeds, and then a little
I've seen those.
Anatomy of a Sock Doctor thing. So it tells you what everything on what part of the sock is. And then this lovely clear tote bag came with it as well. So that was the Hank of Yarn Sock Club this time. I'm excited to knit up that second sock. I loved working with the yarn, and it's always a fun sock club. And you can find more information about that on the Hank of Yarn site, which is linked in the sidebar to our blog, and of course will be in the show notes. So that's it for that.
I'm getting ready for my heel turn, so I can't do that and record it at the same time. I'll end up having to just rip it out. It's not worth it. So, our friend Wendy.
Yay!
You might know her.
She's Wendy Knits.
She's Wendy Johnson of the Wendy Knits.
Look, I'm getting my yarn already.
She's started today, May 15th. She's starting a mystery shawlette knit along.
Yep.
And I believe is it bottom up or top down?
It's
or does it
bottom.
Okay.
It starts from the bottom, and you cast on 200 and some yards. And then the first clue came out. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. And then the first clue came out this morning. It's the cast on in the first 2 rows. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm going to do it out of. I was going to do it this morning, but I decided to paint my nails instead. Actually take off the purple nail polish because it was a little bit tattered looking.
So she's going to, over the next 2 weeks, she'll be releasing clues. And then once it's over, she'll put it out as a free pattern.
Yep.
So
and it's on 5s or 6s. It's just what you get gauge with, around 400 yards. Like I said, I'm going to use my Sleeping Dragon yarns, which is hand painted in the key lime colorway. It's a bamboo superwash merino yarn.
That'll be a nice drape for a shawl.
I hope so. I was a little bit concerned because she said not to use super variegated, but I don't think it's super.
No, that's more tonal.
Variegated. She's using Madeline Tosh for hers, and so are a bunch of other people. But I'm really excited. I can't wait to do it. It'll be lots of fun.
Yeah, it'll be very.
And the next clue comes out on Tuesday.
Wow.
So, yeah. Well, it's just a cast on and 2 rows of garter, so it's not a whole lot.
I bet somebody's already done with it.
Oh, Love Lefnitz says she already clarked that she's done with it. And I really was going to get on to it, but I had, well, first off, my nails are all screwed up again because I'm
It's
impatient.
very distracting to her.
It is. But I'm impatient and waited 45 minutes for them to dry, and that was not enough time. So I didn't get it cast on like I was planning to. But that's okay. I'll cast it on when I go home. Or maybe just, I'm actually, these are the needles that I want to use on. So,
I don't have that size to give you.
And it's like a Wendy Knits palooza for me, because I'm trying to finish up the pie shawl, which was her last secret shawl.
Which was how long ago?
Last August.
Yeah. Because she had it done when we went to visit her.
Yep.
Well, she had it done before that.
And I was working on mine when we went to visit her in September.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
Oh well,
so,
such is life.
Another fun thing that we did this past Friday night was we decided we were going to do...
movie night.
Yeah, movie night.
Where
we all watched the same movie, and we used the Rav chat room that's our Ravelry group. Every group has a chat room. So we used our chat room, and
I really like using the chat room because if we did a video chat with it, you get the movie in the background, so I don't like that as much.
Because everybody's got different audio levels and everything, so... It's better. It's a little more old school to do like the old AOL chat, because that's what it feels like.
But I like it.
We had 30 or 40 people in there, and we're chatting back and forth. We watched Sorcerer's Apprentice last week.
Yep,
I think
Nicolas
it was
Cage.
Unanimously decided that Labyrinth is going to be next, which I fully support because I'm a David Bowie fan.
And that's fine with me, but it's going to be at least...
It'll be at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's not going to be this weekend because we've got Kentucky Sheep and Fiber Fest. So while we're going on the topic, we'll segue right on over to this coming weekend.
We're going to Kentucky Fiber Festival. We're going to be leaving 4 a.m. Saturday morning. It is a 7-hour drive, and we actually lose an hour because we're in Central Time and we're going to Eastern Time. So we will arrive noonish.
Yeah.
We will be around Diabolical's booth a whole lot.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for us, you can look for us there. As of right now, we're not going to schedule an official time for a meetup.
Yeah.
We're just going to be, we'll be around that booth.
Side note, to anybody that's going to go and that sees us, please stop us and say hello. You're not interrupting us. We love the fact that there are people who want to talk to us, so please don't be shy. Come and say, hey, I know you.
And Mama Linneman will be with us too.
Yes.
She's doing all the driving. She's our chauffeur.
Yeah, so we get to knit or sleep.
I'm hoping to get this, like, a good chunk of this done on that trip because...
So, don't be afraid to say hello to us. We enjoy meeting people.
We love meeting people.
So,
we'll have our camera with us, too, because we always have our camera with us.
Oh, will we? Okay. That means I gotta pack all that crap. But that's fine, because we want to do a little bit of video for the people that aren't going to Kentucky, because they like to watch. I think it's
fun to look and see what else. I mean, if y'all decide, tell us. Let us know if you like the things like the stitches and...
the little recaps of when we go places.
Yeah.
We did stitches, we did Camp Kip, just little bits and pieces of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we talked about movie night, we talked about Kentucky Fiber Fest.
And we're super excited. We're going to meet Susan Anderson there. I'm so excited.
Well, and there's a lot of vendors that I'm excited. Like Knitty and Color's going to be there, and she oh my God, I've fallen down hard at her shop a few weeks ago, and I've got
some... Diabolical's going to be there,
yeah,
and Miss Babs is going to be there, and I think Painty of Unique Sheep's going to be there. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping she packs there's a La 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 colorway that she did, and I really want that colorway.
I didn't know she was going to be there.
I think she's going to be there.
And there's a lot of vendors
I've
never heard of that are going to be there, so I look forward to
I'm really excited.
Stuff. I've already got a budget set aside.
And we're really hoping Becky makes it.
Yes, Becky.
You must go! It's like a 10-hour drive for her, and we're like, go!
You need the time to yourself anyway for the drive. Mm-hmm. I love long drives for time to
myself. On a motorcycle, by yourself.
Oh, God, that's right. Anyway, So I decided this week, I'm almost done with this craft room. I've got a couple of little pieces that are left, but I decided that, so the way that I typically do my stash on Ravelry is that I don't put anything away in my drawers until it's been photographed. So unless it's been photographed, I've got it in like bags and tubs around the room, but not in the drawers. Because in the drawers means that it's on Ravelry. And I liked having everything in Ravelry because then if I see a new pattern, I can just immediately click over and decide what I want to use for it. Well, I'm a little behind in photographing and putting things in Ravelry. In fact, I don't think I've really done a photo session since probably summer of last year. So I had 100+ items that needed to be added to Ravelry. So it took me 2 or 3 days to photograph it, and it took me 8 or 9 hours once it had been photographed to link everything and put it in my stash. But my stash, aside from some fiber that when we were putting this room together, Laura stuck some fiber over on my book things that I didn't see until last night. So now I've got more stuff that I forgot I needed.
But you told me you weren't doing fiber.
It's not, well, I decided to because it's so freaking pretty. But,
okay.
So most of my stash is in Ravelry now, and I'm hoping that, you know, this summer I can convince
it's not going to
Laura.
happen.
Like we'll have a marathon weekend of photographing things.
It would take like a marathon 4 weeks of photographing.
No, it would take probably 2 solid days of photographing and then a couple weeks of uploading. But
yeah, it's not going to happen. That's too much work, and I don't care that much.
But then it's all in one place.
Yeah, I don't care that much.
Well, to each their own.
What I might do is I might do inventory of what's in each bin and do a little tape on the outside, because mine's in plastic bins, tape on the outside of what's in each bin. I might do inventory that way. Mm-hmm. That way, when I'm looking for something like Sleeping Dragon, because I knew I had that, I could know which bin it's in.
Mm-hmm. But then if you move anything, then you have to change the
Well, that's alright. And when I get rid of it, I can just Sharpie it out. I'm okay with that. I'm better with that than I am with photographing. Because photographing and putting it is not going to help me
know where it is.
Know where it is. And that's my big issue, is knowing where stuff is.
You could say it's in bin, whatever. But then if you move it, you'd have to change it. But anyway.
I can't even keep up with my D-stash.
We're off on a tangent. Yeah, I know. Every time I D-stash something, I'm like, well, crap, what drawer is it in? Mm-hmm. We also wanted to send a thank you to one of our viewers.
To Ro
in Georgia. She sent us
She sent me a belated birthday present.
And me I'm sorry it's flooding present, which was very nice.
That's very sweet.
She sent a little note that she was looking for a little yellow slicker to put it in. A rain slicker, which was
like
cute.
Paddington Bear.
But
That's
on that topic,
cute.
We're actually hoping to open one of our 3 properties by this weekend or the following. So I go back to work on Monday. Well, I've been working, but I've been working short weeks, but that's over now. I enjoyed it for a week, and then it was over. But the other 2 are going to take a little longer to drain and reopen. But I thank you very much to everybody who sent me PMs and has been concerned, and I appreciate it very much. I will still have a job. I'm not worried about any of that.
We're going to send good thoughts to the people in Louisiana.
Yeah, and lower Mississippi, who are also going to get the brunt of this flooding. And one last thing, and then we'll be done, because we're almost at 50 minutes now.
We are.
So every year we have an annual cost for hosting the site and the domain registration, and we don't like to ask for money, but if you guys have a few bucks that you can throw our way for donations, there is a donation button on our website, TheKnitGirlls3ls.com. I think it's over there, if I can remember which way the video plays.
I'm just going to point random directions.
It's somewhere. And it says, there's a big PayPal button. So if you have the desire and the ability and you want to throw a few bucks our way, please feel free to do so. We appreciate it very much, everybody that has donated in the past. That's pretty much it, I think.
Yep. You can find us on iTunes.
Yes, if you haven't already and you have the time and desire, please leave a star rating and or a written review, not only for us, but for all your podcasters.
Plurk. And if you're looking for us at Kentucky, I'll have my phone on me, so you can plurk and we'll find you. We might plurk where we are.
We'll have Ravelry buttons with their names on them, and you know what we look like. So
we're easy to spot in a crowd. She's the short one.
We'll be together. Most of the time, I imagine.
I feel like we should just be handcuffed.
Yeah, we'll be like we'll get a pair of those pants where we can both wear them and just wear.
And Mama Linneman's gonna be like, "What is going on?"
Whatever. I'll see you later.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, don't be afraid to come and say hello. We love it when you do.
Oh,
so,
I agree.
Plurk, You Don't Call Me Les Lawonets, Ravelry, Twitter. Also, we will put, when we're in Diabolical's booth, we'll tweet it. So subscribe to us on Twitter if you're going to be there and you want to know. So
if you're a Twitterer,
yeah,
a tweeter,
Twitterer, whatever. Okay, I think we've been trying to close this for like 4 minutes now, so let's just do it.
All right.
We will see you guys again next week.
And we might see you live in Kentucky.
We might see you in Kentucky. We'll try to take some little snippets and put it on next week's episode. So.
All right. Bye, y'all.